If you're only charging for materials and labor, you're probably losing money.
Hello, this is the Hackhour Podcast, a show where it's all about helping real, everyday, hardworking remodelers learn the secrets to having it all in life and business. And now, here's your host, Mike Menges.
Let's dive into how to account for all the time, setup, and transitions that are eating away at your profit on every job. Look, welcome to the Hackhour Podcast. I'm Mike Menges. I'm the founder of the Remodeling Academy. Our mission is to help remodelers achieve success faster and easier with fewer headaches than it took me, right? Today, we are tackling the critical question. Are you really pricing your remodeling jobs correctly? How do you make money? Here's the deal. Many remodelers base their prices on things simply as just the material and labor, but they don't quite understand how to account for all the hidden costs, things that add up, right? Such as time spent cleaning, setting up, traveling, transitioning between trades, moving materials around, and so much more. Look, when you don't account for those things, you're leaving money on the table, or worse, somebody's working for free. In this episode, we're going to break down some things that you need to understand, and we'll define markup and margin and how to track all these hidden costs. Plus, I'll share with you and show you how to ensure you're pricing your jobs in a way that actually makes you money and keeps your business healthy. Let's get started. So, why are you likely underpricing your work? Well, let's start with first, what if you don't fully understand the difference between markup and margin? If you confuse these two, you can end up undercharging without realizing it. Second, maybe you're not accounting for a lot of non-billable hours, right? Here's a reality check. Every time that you drive or someone drives to pick up materials, or they're prepping at a job site, or waiting for the subcontractor to finish, right? Or dealing with the inspector, this could be time that maybe you're not billing for, and it could still be costing you money. Third, maybe you're not accounting for all of your overhead, right? Look, your business has fixed costs. Insurance, marketing, buying of tools, right? There are things that don't go away just because you're on like a smaller job. Every project needs to contribute its share to cover all the expenses that are required for this business to operate. Some of you are like, well, I'm a smaller business. Okay, but you still have to have a vehicle. There's insurance on the vehicle. You still have to have a way of customers to contact you. So you have to have a cellular phone, right? You should have a website. You have to invest in like marketing materials and contracts and meeting with an attorney to make sure that your contract's set up, the cost of setting up your business, the cost of your business insurance. These are just a few to get started, right? And if you're not accounting for all these things, you're not pricing your job accurately. And that's why for so many of you, you feel like you're working hard, and yet you don't understand why there's no profit at the end of the job or the end of the year even, right? And you're like, I deserve more. What is going on? So let's take a minute and define some key terms, all right? So in business in general, you have cost of goods sold, COGS, as some people would say, right? Look, this includes all the direct costs tied to a project. It's materials, it's labor, it's subcontractors. It's everything that has to go to the site to make the thing happen that you're being paid for, okay? So for example, if you're remodeling a kitchen and you spend $20,000 on the cabinets and the appliances and on the plumber and electrician, the trade work, then that is your cost of goods sold. Now, there's another term. There's markup. Now, markup is the percentage that you add to your cost of goods sold to determine the price you charge your client. So for example, if your cost of goods sold are $20,000 and you apply what some people like to do as a 50% markup, that means you charge $30,000. I'll share with you in another episode why I would tell you that's not enough. But anyway, I'm just using it as an example. Okay, now, third thing, so margin, right? Gross profit margin. A lot of people just talk about margin. Margin is the percentage of the selling price that's profit after covering your cost of goods sold. I'm not saying use these numbers for a realistic, but I'm just sharing them. So in the example prior, if you charge $30,000 and your cost of goods sold were $20,000, that meant your margin was $10,000, right? But no, your margin is 33%. Okay, so let's look at overhead cost. These are your fixed business expenses that don't directly tie to a specific job, like insurance, office, rent, software that you might be using, tools, marketing. Every project should help cover these overhead costs. Okay. We also have, some people would call it non-billable time. And these are the hours that you and your crew spend on tasks that maybe aren't directly tied to every project, but they are when you think about it overall, because you have to do things like the guys have to drive to and from the job site every day. And if you're picking up vans, like let's say you keep all the vehicles at your warehouse and the guys come to your shop in the morning and then they drive out. They're getting paid from the time they show up at your shop, right? There's setup time, there's breakdown, there's cleaning, there's the transitioning of time. So we have to understand that there is a lot of time that has to be accounted for. So understanding all these terms is critical because it gives you the framework to price your projects correctly and ensure you're accounting for everything that costs your business money. So how to account for the hidden costs. Setup, cleanup, right? Every job has that non-productive time at the beginning and the end. And when you think about setting up tools, unloading materials, the cleaning up of the job site, what about, like, for those of you that are framers and you frame up additions, sometimes materials, a stack of lumber is getting moved multiple times. There's where the delivery company dropped the lumber off. Then you usually send one of your laborers over to restack it and figure out which boards are straightest, right? And then there's, you cut it and then it gets moved again, right? And all that time should be accounted for. How about the transition time? What about the time between when trades are moving in and moving out, right? There might be downtime, like you might have a couple guys on site and they're waiting for the electrician to finish so the drywall can be started. Or maybe someone's having to wait on an inspector, right? And we can't go any farther because the inspector we thought was coming at 9, but now maybe they're not coming till 11. This just needs to be accounted for. It's lost time, and if you're not factoring it into your pricing properly, it's costing you. Okay. Gas isn't free. The time to be getting materials. If you and your crew are making multiple runs to supply houses and back and forth to job sites, somehow that has to be accounted for in your project cost. Most of you in most states need to be offering some sort of a warranty. So depending on how good you are, some of you, your callbacks are very few and frequent. Others, it's probably pretty high. I've seen it all over the place. So you need to account for things like warranty work. And how are you going to be handling those callbacks and repairs down the road? I would argue that you need to have a better system where you're ensuring that you're doing things right the first time. But some of you are always going to rush, and that's going to lead you to more warranty calls. Okay. We also have to factor in an overhead allocation, right? We have to not forget things that are fixed costs. Even when you're working on small projects, you still need to contribute to your overhead and expenses like insurance and admin and salaries and cost of getting your taxes done. So start tracking all of your time And let's figure out a way to add those hours up and to make sure you're calculating those costs into the business. A lot of you are going to be shocked at how much money you're leaving on the table by not accounting for all of this in your jobs currently. So, what would happen if you got paid for everything, right? Let's imagine what your business would look like if you accounted for all the time and the cost in your pricing. Imagine every hour spent driving to pick up some materials or cleaning up at the job site. What if that got covered and was included in every priced job? What if all your overhead costs, your insurance, the marketing that you want to do, the tools that you need to perform the task, what if all that was accounted for and into every project? How about instead of feeling like you're scrambling to stay afloat, you're finally seeing predictable profits at the end of the job? See, here's the best part. Your clients will pay for this as long as you're delivering value, right? They're not just paying for materials and labor. They are paying for your expertise, your professionalism, and the peace of mind that comes with working with someone who gets it done right the first time. When was the last time you heard someone come up to the counter at Starbucks and say, I don't know if I want to pay $10 for that latte. I want to understand, how much did it cost you to get that material? How much is that cup costing you, right? Consumers go to Starbucks because they are pretty much guaranteed that they're going to get a drink that they enjoy. It's going to be done in a quick manner, and they move on about their day, okay? You have to think to yourself, how am I going to be providing that type of experience for my client? When the client can trust that you're doing everything properly, they stop focusing on the price. When they don't trust that you can do it properly, then they focus on the price. So if you are running into a lot of clients that are focusing on price, there is something that you aren't doing properly. It may be that you need to learn how to weed out the leads. And if you are weeding them out, then it's something about your sales process and that you're not doing properly because your clients don't trust you. So imagine, what would it be like if you didn't have to cut corners or rush jobs to make the ends meet? That's the kind of business that we want for you here. And it all starts with you pricing your work to reflect that everything that you bring to the table has value and is important. And that's why clients trust you and they hire you. All right. So today we've covered why many remodelers are underpricing their work and how you can start accounting for the hidden costs, especially these setup and transitions that happen so frequently in remodeling. Because often, your guys are doing multiple tasks. If they're installing something, a lot of times they're having to do demo, cut some sheetrock out, move some plaster, change the framing, then patch that hole. Then it has to be painted. They might have to do some trim work, right? All these different things have to be accounted for. All right. You have to understand what all this looks like, and this is how you can run a business where every hour and expense gets accounted for, and you feel good at the end of the week and at the end of the year because you know you're making money. All right, so look, if you're ready to keep moving in a trajectory where your business is doing well, get yourself over to the remodelingacademy.com. Get your free copy of the Weed the Lead. Sign up for the Morning Hammer newsletter. Do the things that we're offering you that are simple. And for those of you that are ready for bigger challenges, maybe you sign up for some coaching, get into our program. How about you go over to the remodelingriches.com, sign up for the 5-day remodel challenge. See how your business stacks up and learn do you actually have what it takes to dominate in your industry. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Hackhour Podcast. Appreciate if you would subscribe and like and share the episode. Leave us a positive review. All those things would help. And until next time, be great, do great, take care.
Thank you for listening to the Hackhour Podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave us a quick review on iTunes. To further your remodeling success, go to remodelingriches.com.